Hey guys, welcome to the 5th devlog for my game. This week I added loot tables, crafting, and I started working on the first boss as well as a lot of minor changes. So yeah, we're going to be covering that today, so let's get started. So the first major thing I added was loot tables into the game. Now, this is something I really needed for the enemies because I wanted there to be different types of drops. So I'm going to quickly go to my loot tables. These are all the loot tables here. Okay, so the way that a loot table works is essentially we have different pools of loot. Now you can have as many of these as you want. As you can see here, I just created 2. But for the example, I'm going to do 1. After that, you have an amount of rolls. So this is how many times we're going to go through that specific pool of loot, and that can have us, get multiple different items. The entries are the actual items you'll be getting. So if I create 2 entries here, you'll see a lot of information pops up. For this example in particular, we really only want to focus on weight, as that's, the probability system, which is probably what you're most interested in, versus this is kind of self-explanatory. So the weight works like this. I go from ascending weight to descending weight, obviously, as you can see from the warning I put in place here, because it won't work without that. But what happens is we add up the total weight of every single entry within this specific pool. And then with that information, we pick a random number between 0 and that maximum weight. And then from there, we check if that's less than the first weight entry. If it's not, then we subtract the actual number of the first entry's weight from that number. So say we get 27 because it's out of 30. So say we get 27. That is not less than 20, so we're going to subtract 20 and we're going to get 7. Then we check if it's less than the second weight, which is 10. 7 is less than 10, so we got the more rare item. So that's how it works, and this is obviously, it works for any amount of, loot tables. It doesn't have to be out of 100, so I can make the weight 400, million or whatever, and then it doesn't matter. So that's kind of the way that loot tables work. As an example, or for a few examples, I'll show you some of the loot tables that are in the game. So for the slime, for example, there's a new item called the Ancient Slime Mail. That's a armor type, and there's also a slime ball now in the game. So the way that this works is we have 2 pools here. So each pool will roll individually. So the game will start with this one. We have 1 roll, so we'll only go through this once. Basically, you have a 1 in 10 chance of getting an Ancient Slime Mail, which is a really good armor piece from just killing a typical slime. So you have a 10% chance of this being dropped, whereas you have more so a 90% chance around that. Obviously, it's not exactly, but you have around a 90% chance of getting nothing, which, as you can see here, is none. Aside from that, after we go through that, you can see we only roll it once, so it's a very low chance of getting this item. After we go through that pool, the game just ignores that. It goes to the second pool, and then it checks, okay, we have 1 roll, we're going to go through it here, and obviously you can see here there's not 2 options, so this first option is actually a guaranteed item you're going to get. So you're guaranteed to get a slime ball with an amount of 1 to 3. So yeah, that's how the loot table system works. Obviously, it's also used by resources, so things like the bush obviously also use it. So enemies, resources, they all use the same loot table system. Okay, so aside from loot tables, the next big thing is actually crafting. So for this, I'm going to first start by showing you the scriptable object version of this and kind of explain it, then I'm going to show you it in-game. So everything that you want to be able to craft has its own recipe. As you can see here, there's quite a few recipes. The way a recipe works, also this is a new item which I'll be showing you, is essentially you have the items that go into the recipe. So here we have 3 entries into that. We have 4 meadow wood, we have 2 meadow rocks, and 2 meadow branches. All of this goes into the items out. So the items out are what you get out of the sort of trade, and that is a single steel pitchfork. So that's how that works. And then each recipe is assigned to a crafting station. So if I go here, we can see in-game dash crafting stations. Here there's only one. This is the player crafting station _ player. This is what you can craft like while you're moving around. This is what you can craft just by default as a player. So if you open your inventory, there's a new tab which I'll be showing you in a second, and you can basically craft all of this from just within your inventory. So the way this works is we have a list of all the recipes that can be made within that table or station. And then on our actual player object, which I'm going to pull up real quick here, on the actual player, if I find it real quick, we should see, yeah, wait, no, that's not it. There you go, crafting station. So basically, this system is set up completely for when we want to add like actual in-game objects that you can interact with to craft, because the way this works is, all you have to do is just add a new value to this array. So if I add another one, then I can simply add a new crafting station. So say I added an anvil into the game, basically what could happen is you could right click on the anvil and then it adds a crafting station here, and then when you're out of range of that anvil you lose it. So that way it would allow you to craft certain items based on in-game objects, so you could have physical things that you need to use to craft items. So that's basically how that's set up. So this is obviously just the default inventory crafting. So yeah, that is crafting. I'm going to show you it in game right now along with the loot tables, and then we'll move on to the boss. Okay, so we're now in game. You can see all the toppers here. Ignore this for now. This is a new thing I'm going to be talking about in just a second. But yeah, so the basic things you can craft right now are the slime armor, the iron armor, and the pitchfork. Most of which are new items in the game. Yeah, let me just kill some slimes here, and then I'll show you that. Okay, so I have 8 slime now, and if I pop over to the crafting window, you can see 2 options here. This is the slime helmet as well as the slime gloves. So if I click on this, then you'll see it'll bring up another window on top. It tells you what you need and what you get out of it, basically. I want to put an arrow here, and I also want to spice this up a little bit because it's a little bit bland, but the point is that it works. Additionally, if you click on any of the items, it will show you all of its information over here as it would normally. Obviously, it won't let you equip it or anything. It'll just give you the blank information so you know how to craft it, what the item actually is. If you click on an item within your actual inventory, it will still give you the options to drop and stuff, because I want the crafting to be interactive so that you don't have to go out of everything to do one thing. But yeah, you get the point. So yeah, once you hit craft, it'll update the menu. Obviously, I don't have enough slime anymore to make anything else, so it all disappears from the crafting menu because I took all 8 slime. I go to my armor, I have it here because that's what I crafted, and I can equip that. So yeah, that is basically how the crafting system works. I'm going to quickly pull in some more items to show you how the other items are crafted. Okay guys, so here we are. You can see it costs this amount of items and you get the steel pitchfork out of it. So if I hit craft, you see I pick it up over here, I pick it up over here. I can equip that to whatever slot I want, and it has taken away my resources. So, yeah, the reason why you can't see anything is because it's scrolled down. But yeah, it's taken away my resources, and I now have the pitchfork. This is a new item that I added. It has its own custom animation, and also it's for harvesting foliage. So it's similar to the scythe, except looks a little bit different, has a different animation, and it's going to be used as more of a long-range weapon than it is an actual tool. Currently it does 3 damage, and it has decent range because of the animation. But yeah, so that is how the crafting system works. Now, in terms of loot tables, I doubt we're going to get any rare items here to show it off, but you can see we're just getting slime, which has the guaranteed probability of having 1 to 3. Also, this is another example of the loot table. You're guaranteed to get an axe as well as a slime 1 to 3. Oh, and there you go. Oh, we got 2. That's really rare. So yeah, we just got 2 ancient slime males in a row, which is extremely rare. As you can see here, 5 armor points. I believe that's better than iron armor, which is why it kind of promotes the player to go find it. But yeah, we got a really rare item there, and now I'm going to discuss the final boss. Okay guys, so we are now in a game. The large worlds are a little bit not optimized at the moment, so we're a bit laggy here, but I'm going to quickly zoom out and see if I can locate a biome that we're looking for. Oh, yeah, okay, so we have some up here. I'm going to head up there, and yeah. Okay, so we're about to enter the biome here. The first thing you'll notice is these little piles of gold around the place randomly. Also, these lanterns produce light. But yeah, so that's what this biome is, and if I set this to night here, it gives us like a weird atmosphere. It has like this orange glowing light around it. You can see it lights up the player too. But yeah, basically what happens is the system is very similar to Terraria, where once you mine 3 of a specific item, it'll actually summon a boss here. So the boss is not anywhere near done. In fact, the name isn't even complete. It just says Goblin Boss. But essentially, it's going to be a goblin who you're stealing his gold, so he's going to arise, and like this is where I want the game to introduce ranged combat, because the boss is actually holding a bow. Obviously, like I said, doesn't have any attacks yet, does have drops, but yeah. See if we break one. You shouldn't have done that. Once again, this only occurs at night. I don't think I mentioned that. You'll see if I mine one right now, it does nothing. And I wanted to use night because it has this, cool, like I said, atmosphere. Like if I zoom out a little bit, all these little lights give off a weird feel to them. If I break another one, the ground lightly shakes, and if I break the last one, the scream echoes in the distance. So you'll see here, you don't see anything yet. Suddenly a cloud of smoke, and we have a boss health bar at the top here. If I zoom back in, you can see him in more detail. I thought he looked pretty cool. Obviously he doesn't have animations yet or attacks. You can see the goblin boss has awoken. Once again, doesn't have a name yet. I'm trying to come up with something cool. You can also see the red cursor. That means there's an enemy. So yeah, if I attack him here, you'll notice that the health bar does go down right there. He has 40 health, so quite a decent bit. If I just insta-kill him with the debug hammer here, yeah, there we go. He deletes after a few seconds. That's something I added, but I didn't add a delay for the drops, so I'll need to do that. So he drops 3 things. He'll drop goblin hide, twine, and a chance to drop iron. So this is your introduction to uncommon items in the game. You can see here, these 2 are uncommon. This is obviously common. Wow, we got really unlucky with that. Also, this is an issue with the crafting menu. But yeah, we got really unlucky with his drops. We only got 1 of each thing. So if you use this item on the, I'm kind of undecided though, slime or iron armor, I'm not sure which yet. It'll actually upgrade the armor and make it a lot stronger, so it'll buff it higher than the amount that iron was worth, which is really good. So that's very useful. And then this twine is going to be used when you want to craft ranged weapons. So this is going to be used to craft bows and certain things. Additionally, this is going to be used to craft arrows, so you need a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to probably up the drops quite a bit, because getting 1 is really bad, honestly. But yeah, so that's the boss at the minute. Obviously, not a lot to show for him yet. I barely have done a lot of work on him. Mainly, I just worked on the biome here. If I scroll back over, yeah. So the main work was done on this biome. Because I wanted the biome to really look good, so now I just have to work on his attacks and improve his drops and give the items for that. Hey guys, so this is me after I edited the video, and I just wanted to add a quick thing. If you guys ever have any ideas for the game, features, anything like that, you can always leave them in the comments, and I'll always respond and likely put your idea into the game. So yeah, just wanted to add that real quick. Thanks. So yeah, now I'm going to go into a small world, and I'm going to spawn in all the new items I've added, just to show them off, and yeah, that'll conclude this week's sort of work. Okay everyone, so to end off the devlog, we're going to check out all the new items in the game. So yeah, we'll start over here. Obviously the ancient slime mail, you've already seen it, has a 10% chance of dropping from a slime in the game. So yeah, that's pretty cool. 5 armor points, greater than iron, which I believe is 4 armor points for the chest plate. So that's kind of something you want to try and get early game. That's better than iron, which will encourage people to try and kill more slimes. Okay. Next item here is the goblin hide, which obviously I already showed you. Will be used as a boss drop in the future. Next thing, which isn't fully finished yet, is the haste potion. So I already had potions in the game before we did the full rework, and you can see it already has an animation. It will improve your speed, I believe, by 0.25 or 25% for a temporary boost, which will be interesting. I was kind of adding that just to test out potions, because I was just interested in what they were capable of. As you can see here, here's the description. Additionally, iron ingot. This makes more sense than iron rock dropping pure iron armor. I knew I was going to add this, I was just kind of waiting. So yeah, I've added this in. Currently, this just drops from the ore. I'm going to change that also. I have a couple of ideas, but I just have to wait. The next item is the twine. I've already showed this off as well. Used to craft ranged weapons in the near future. And the last 4 items are all slime based. Slime ball, which as you saw earlier drops from the slimes, and slime armor. So I'm going to take off this armor real quick, and yeah, you can see here 2 armor points versus the ancient slime mail has 5, so obviously a difference. You can see we get a total of 4 armor points, so not really a lot at all, but eventually, like I said, using goblin hide, likely you'll be able to upgrade this. After killing the boss, you'll be able to upgrade it by a lot to be better than iron. And the last item, which I already showed off, is the pitchfork. Acts like a scythe, long range, and it does the most damage currently in the game. It does 3 damage. I'm likely going to debuff that. That's just kind of how it's looking currently. But yeah, and probably the last thing here is the spawn item over here under the item command buttons. So this doesn't actually work at the minute. I'm having some issues with that, but I should have that working in the next update, and obviously that's just for debug, but I thought I'd add that in here because I do cover updates for the debug items. Okay, so I'm going to quickly cover everything I've done this week. So I added loot tables to the game, I added the basic crafting system to the game, I also began working on the first boss, and I added about 9 or so items to the game. So yeah, that's going to pretty much do it for this week. I hope to see you next week.